Hey everyone, we're finally starting to look at the rust situation on the Tiguan, and yeah, it's not looking too good. I took the light out of the trunk lid, and as you can tell, it's crispy. There's a lot of metal missing. This has been going on for a while now, but when I took the light out, I also noticed that this section here is damaged, and it's very soft here, so I'm gonna have to take all this out. Normally I would have considered replacing the entire tailgate, which I'm not gonna do here. I really want this to be a repair, but at the same time we also have some bubbling going on here. It's not hard to see, but if you look at this way, you'll see this is all bubbled, right? So this is gonna have to also be removed. I'll do this at a later time. For now, it's about getting this area ready to be fixed. So removing all the rust, obviously, the paint, and I'm gonna open this. It might be a little challenging because we really don't have a lot of space here to work with. And as you can tell by looking in the crack, it's pretty rusted here. You can see the hole right there. It will take a little bit of time and effort. I'm gonna have to see how I can even get to this area, because I'm gonna have to use some fiberglass in order to have a backing to put some body filler. If we look at here, same thing, right? Tons of rust. What happened in this car is that there was a water leak that I covered in a separate video, which was entering through here. So I'll put some caulking since, so it's not leaking anymore. But certainly the water that entered from here went all the way down and just accumulated at the bottom of the door here and created some rust, right? So this has been going on for a long time. I think it's a chronic issue on these vehicles. That being said, just gonna do some cleanup here, and I'll continue the video after to show you where I'm at. So let's get this started. Alright, so step one is done, which was basically scrubbing all the rust here. So anything that was not holding correctly. Now I'm gonna go back to the bare metal. You can tell it's still not there yet. Sounds a little hollow, but yeah, we're kind of back to the metal here, at least in this section here. That's good. Now we need to go really all around the rust area and go back to the bare metal all around the rust here. So I'm gonna do this. I've got my grinder here with a sanding disc attachment, so I'm just gonna go down to the metal, and then we'll use a specific product to actually dissolve the rust and basically neutralize it so that it doesn't spread any further. So I'm gonna do this now. Alright, so we're progressing. As expected, the hole is now much bigger. This was actually a piece of the caulking that goes between two panels. So it goes between this panel here and this different piece that hosts the light, right? And this was in between. So we have to take it out because we need to treat the section behind, which is also rusted. As you can see, it's still not completely done yet. But the good thing is that we'll probably be able to use this, because this was actually pretty thick, right? And this was in between the two panels. I'll be able to probably run my fiberglass in between these two, in the back here, which is what I want, and over the top here. And that should actually ensure that we have structural stability between the two panels still. So that's actually not a bad thing. Certainly a little bit of cleanup still to do. It's nice we're down to the metal here. So we've isolated the rusty area. I found a little bit of Bondo, so it looks like there was an attempt to fix this at some point. Still some bubbling here that I need to treat. And then we're gonna continue, clean this up nicely, and then install the fiberglass. So hopefully, yeah, see, there's even a bit of an opening here. Certainly the water has been accumulating for a while. I'm gonna have to probably sand this down as well, because there was a this piece was actually folding over and then was riveted, right? There's no point to keep these anymore. This is gonna be just extra thickness that I can gain so that my fiberglass goes on top and wraps around nice close to the metal. All right, so let's continue this. All right, so cleaning is pretty much done here. As you can tell, I managed to remove the overlap of the sheet metal here. So it goes up and over, and then it's tack welded or riveted, not too sure. But this section was completely rotten, so I took that out. This is now clean. I've got a little bit of extra thickness where I'll be able to bring my fiberglass cloth over. Here, same thing, it's pretty solid. Maintain that connection here because that provides sturdiness to the connection here, which is good. Here I'm down to the bare metal, as you can tell, it's nice and shiny all the way around. Even actually there was a bit of a pitted area here, so I took that out. So it looks nice and clean. I was also able to remove all the rust that came from this area and that fell into the door, and I could actually hear it rattle when I would open the tailgate. So that's now gone. I used a vacuum cleaner and a combination of vacuuming and blowing, and I was able to take all of it out because it doesn't make any noise anymore. The inside is clean. Be extremely careful when you use a grinder because this jagged edge here is very, very sharp, so you can cut yourself easily. But now I'll have nice space here to put a piece of fiberglass on the inside and wrap it over here, and then use some body filler to complete this area. Before we do that though, we're going to be using another step, which is rust dissolver. We want to get rid of as much rust as we can. This is naval jelly, it's Loctite. Apparently it's really good. I haven't used it. It doesn't come with a brush. When you take the lid off, basically, I won't be able to do it here, I need both hands. But you need a brush, you apply it on, you wait like 10-15 minutes, and then you rinse it off with clear water. Right? So the idea here is to get rid of as much rust as we can. Rust is like cancer. Once it actually gets into the metal, it will spread. So you want to try to get rid of it as much as you can. So this is going to be our next step here. I'll apply it with a brush, rinse it off, and apparently you can literally see the rust kind of go away. So that's good. I mean, this is looking pretty good. I was concerned at first that it would be very difficult to fix, but I think by applying some resin on the inside here, slip the fiberglass in the opening, make sure I kind of go against here the metal on the inside, make sure it sticks, and then wrap it over here. I think I'll be in good shape to have a strong substrate to put some body filler. That's the plan. We'll see how that goes. Alright everyone, we're about to continue working on the rust situation on the tailgate of my Tiguan. The next step here, as we have a few snowflakes coming down today, is to apply this product here. So it's basically a Loctite product. Note that this video is not sponsored in any way, shape or form. I'm going to try this for the first time, so we'll see how that goes. And the idea is that this will dissolve the rust that's still on the metal. In fact, even if you look here, it's been a few days since I worked on it, but we have more rust that started developing here. So we need to remove the rust first, and then we will neutralize the rust with a different product, right? It's very important because otherwise the rust is going to continue growing behind your paint, and you don't want this, right? So we're going to apply this here. I will do a video of that. I'm going to apply it on the back as well because the rust has also grown in the back, so it needs to be treated. And then we will apply the fiberglass with resin. That's the plan. All right, so let's get to it. So this product is actually, it's pink in color. It's a very bright pink, and the way you apply it with a brush, right, just a regular dollar store brush, it's a bit of a gooey paste, and you apply it straight onto the surface that you're treating, You don't need to dissolve it, you don't need to dilute it with anything. You just apply it in the areas where that need to be treated. So I'm going to do this section here, and then you let it sit for a while, right? It needs to sit 10 to 15 minutes, and then you rinse it off with water. So just applying this here. Like I said, first time I'm using it, so I'm not exactly sure what that's gonna look like, but I read the manual and the instructions. Apparently it really works well, and we'll see once we rinse it off what the result is going to be. So this is it. Got a nice little layer here, and I'm going to do the same on the inside. I won't record that part, but fundamentally it's the same process, and then we'll rinse it off. Alright, so we're going to rinse off the Loctite now. There's definitely some results. I can show you here, for instance, that we had some rust on the door. It's now completely gone. There's still rust there, you can see it pretty clearly. So I have a little bit left over, so I'm just going to do a strike right across here, the rust runoffs, and you'll see how the rust gets dissolved by this this Loctite product. So looks pretty good so far. I'm just going to rinse this with water. So I have some water here, my brush, we're just going to rinse it off here. And theoretically we should see the rust kind of go away, and it looks like it actually. So this is good because it's also going into the crevices of the section of the area we're covering. We really want to remove as much as we can off of this, all of it preferably, because we're gonna put some another chemical on this to neutralize the rust. A little bit broader here, but it looks definitely cleaner. Just use some tap water to do this, by the way. And I need this to be nice and clean when we're ready to put our resin and our fiberglass. So I'm just going to continue cleaning up here. Clearly it's doing something. I mean, I can see the rust dissolve here as I'm cleaning this up, so it seems to be doing something, which is good. So that's for the outside. I'll show you the end result once this is done. I'm just going to rinse this off nicely, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so we have rinsed all the Loctite, and as you can tell, well, there's still some rust there, but a good chunk of it is gone. So I'll have a pretty good surface here. I'm gonna now neutralize this with the little bottle I was showing earlier. It's called Farmado. It's a black dark product that basically neutralizes the rust, right? So I'm gonna keep going with this. I'm gonna treat the entire area, and then we're gonna put our fiberglass. I'm gonna do the inside and out, make sure this is all done. This is obviously the most corroded section of the car. The other rusted areas should be easier to do. This one is a little bit more complex because of the amount of filling that we'll need to do. So let's get this started now. Okay, next step, Frametto. This is basically a rust stopper, right? I've known this product for a long time. My dad used to use it in France. I don't believe you can find it in Canada, actually. I haven't found it here, but it's basically a dark kind of liquid that you apply on the rust. You might have seen some videos actually of this on TikTok and whatever. I mean, I've seen similar products actually do the exact same thing. So you apply them on the metal, you go a little bit beyond the rusted area, because you want the full coverage. You don't want moisture to be able to get into crevices or into areas where you didn't cover the metal. So you want to go a little bit beyond just the rusted area that you just cleaned up, right? So you're gonna go there, you apply this with the regular brush. Again, make sure you cover all the little crevices and everything, and clear metal as well. So I'm just gonna do this here. We will repaint and prep and do all the metal work after anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'll be able to sand this if I put too much, but the goal is really to make sure that you cover all the different areas that are surrounding the rust, right? So not just the rust, but also a little bit beyond, as I said. And I'm gonna try to get on the inside. That might be a little bit difficult here, but do your best. And ideally you want to treat every single area where you actually had rust. And I'm gonna do the inside. I won't film that because it's a bit tedious. I need to open up the tailgate, so but that is the process here. Make sure you smooth it out nicely, and that's fundamentally what it is, right? It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Okay, so I'm gonna do the inside now. I'll try to, and I'll resume after that. So we'll continue with the left passenger door. There's quite a bit of rust here, so we need to remove all that bubbling here. You can see it on the front of the handle and in the back here. So I'm just gonna go at it. I might actually use a drill with a brush. I can't remove the handle just yet because, believe it or not, there's a special tool to do that. Thank you, Volkswagen, for making things more difficult. And since we're dealing with the rust here, I'm just gonna go around the handle, remove as much as I can. You want to go a little bit beyond the rusty area. You see how I'm actually going slightly beyond the rust here, because I want to make sure that I remove any kind of rust. See, the rust actually does creep under the paint, so you need to remove really a little bit beyond just the rusted area in order to treat it correctly. And we're going to do the exact same thing here. So treat the rust with the jelly. The good thing is, oh, it's almost perforating. It's right on the edge, which is really unfortunate. So hopefully, some Bondo will do well here. I'm gonna have to take out the handle anyways. I can't really even take this out here because this is all one assembly. So even this little piece of plastic at the top here, this is part of the handle. So when you take this out using the tool, there's a little grommet that's on the inside. Take this out, insert the tool, twist it, and it basically unlocks the mechanism from the door. It's just too bad that you need a specific tool to do that, but anyway, so you can see right there, it's almost poking through, so it's time to get this done. These are common areas for rust, by the way, on these vehicles. Since I can't remove the handle just yet, I'm gonna have to go just around it for now, and yeah, and then we'll remove the handle. We'll complete this process. But for now, I really just want to make sure I stop the rust from spreading. Rust is such a cancer. It's it's really important to keep an eye when you see some starting to grow on your car. Make sure you keep an eye on it, because once it's in the metal, it will spread. It can spread pretty quickly, especially on our salty roads here in Canada and in Quebec. We get more snow here in Quebec than in Ontario, for instance, so tend to use more salt as a result on the roads, and salt is the enemy of metal. It compounds with moisture and just creates a perfect condition for rust to develop. So anywho, okay, so we've removed most of it. Good. So we're gonna apply our jelly now, same thing as what we did earlier on the tailgate, and then the black stuff I just put on the tailgate, the frametto, to neutralize the rust. And here we have a pretty good surface. Again, go a little bit outside of the rusted area. You'll see here where I'm actually, going. See where the rust actually stops? I'm going a little bit beyond, maybe an eighth of an inch, eating into the paint to ensure that I've got good metal here, and that there's no more rust. I know it kind of hurts when you see that, because you're like, well, you're removing good paint. I am, but it's for good reasons, because if I don't do it, there could be more rust that I didn't see that's going to end up flaking off the paint. So you see the paint is kind of, it's chipping, right? So that means that the rust is already under there, and that's what you don't want. You want to remove as much as you can. Alright, so this is pretty good. Alright, good. We're gonna have to do the same on the fenders as well, and that's more work because I need to remove the trim. The other side I took the trim off and it completely broke, so it's plastic at the end, right? So it will break off. So we're gonna put the jelly on there now. Just gonna apply this generously on the area. It foams a little bit, actually. I just noticed that under the light. And I'm gonna put some as well on the runoffs here, because this has been going on for a long time. So there's rust that went all the way down. So you put it on, and then again you let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you rinse it off. Right? So apply generously, make sure you cover all the different little areas. I'm going all the way on the fender as well, because it went all the way down. Alright, so that's good here. Now let it sit 20 minutes and rinse it off. Alright, so we now have ready to clean this up. So same thing, just clear water. It's pretty straightforward. And we can see already as we rinse this that the rust is very much less visible than what it was just earlier. We'll have to remove the handle anyways, right? No choice, because we need to make sure that there is no rust left over, especially around the little gasket that's around the handle. The door handles are mounted on a rubber gasket. It's visible actually if you take it out, when you take out the handle, you can see it pretty easily. Ideally, you would replace the gasket handle, actually, the handle gasket, sorry, because it probably failed at some point, and that's what caused the rust to settle, right? So, removing all this, it's really, I mean, this jelly is really quite efficient, really. It's you can see that even the rust on the door paint that we had is pretty much gone, right? So that's what you want. And we're gonna let this dry. I got a leaf blower here that's gonna help dry this up quicker. See, there's still a little bit of a lathing happening here, so it's not completely rinsed. But yeah, this is it, right? So pretty straightforward, easy to do. And we're gonna be ready to neutralize the rust at this point. So we're gonna wait for this to dry and then go back to it. So at least it spreads it stops actually spreading the rust. Alright, so we have applied the rust stopper. It's all around the area, which is good. That's what you want, right? We're still gonna have to remove this, but at least the rust that's covered with this Frametto product, this rust stopper, will be now in good shape. I mean, this is not gonna go anywhere. The rust is not gonna spread any further than that. All the runoffs that we had on the door further down, that's all gone too. I mean, this is actually thanks to the this jelly, the pink stuff that we put on earlier. So you can tell it's completely gone. There's it really does a remarkable job at removing the rust from the body. Really impressed with that, and it didn't damage the paint or the clear coat or anything. It's really good. Now there's a little bit of this black stuff on the handle, but as you can tell, this can get stretched off pretty easily on the plastic, so I'm not too concerned about that. We'll be able to remove that pretty easily after the fact. I could have protected that, right, and I didn't. You can put some tape. I think it comes off with water as well, quite nice. Yeah, see, if you use a wet rag here, it just comes off very easily, so that's good. I mean, the purpose of this product is not to attach plastic at the end. It attaches to rust and converts the rust to something neutral. It doesn't really spread any further. So this section now is treated, which is really good. And I'm gonna move now back to the back of the tailgate, which is right here. So also making progress on that end. I cut a piece of fiberglass to the right size, so now it wraps around nicely, and I'm about to start doing the mixing the resin, which always makes me a little nervous because the dosage of the hardener and the resin is very important. You also need to work at temperatures above 8 degrees centigrade. I'm right on this mark right now. It's about 8-9 degrees here, so I'm probably gonna mix it inside, bring the car inside, and apply it on the door indoors, which is, it's okay, I guess. I mean, I might actually apply it on the tailgate while I'm outside because it kind of stinks. You really want to do this in a well aerated area, and then bring the car back inside. I might actually do that. Simply also because the light is actually really good here, so I can see what I'm doing really well. And yeah, so that's the next step. I'm going to mix the resin and apply this on top to make sure the fabric doesn't move, and then with my brush go on the inside of the door, and then from the inside, so I'm going to have to open up the tailgate, apply the fabric on the inside so that it sticks to the inside of the metal. So a bit tedious, it's not a lot of space. Wear gloves, wear glasses, especially if you work in what I'm gonna do, where the tailgate is gonna be open, so it's gonna be right above my head. Don't want any resin to fall on your face or on your eyes, obviously, so wear some goggles. Safety first, obviously. I'll show you what the end result is. Hopefully it's gonna be good. Alright, stay put.
Later that day.
Alright, so we are done with the tailgate repair, at least for the structural aspects. So I got my fiberglass here, which wraps on top, which is perfect. And I've got the backing here that is attached to the back of the tailgate, right? So what was left, that was still good. I got a little concerned about the resin curing, because frankly the temperature was a little cold here, so I had to warm it up, and I had basically like a blow dryer that I used in order to really make it cure, but it's nice and solid now, it's not sticky. So I'm gonna be able to put some Bondo now on top and recreate the shape for the tailgate. So that's positive. There's no more hole, so that's good, that's watertight. We applied the rust neutralizer, and this actually is also applied in a bunch of other areas. This is not done just yet. I just put the navy jelly on it. I need to rinse it off. This is done. Again, more rust here. There's a lot of rust issues on this car. Some are chronic, just like the fenders. A bit of rust here. A little bit of rust there. With some bubbling going on the lower part of the tailgate. I'm going to be looking into this as well shortly. This side was pretty damaged as well. Actually, I took the trim off. It came out in pieces. I'm going to have to replace it now. Door handle. Gonna rinse this off. And the back piece, unfortunately, was the front fender, which did not resist. So now I got a big hole in it. So I need to fix that before I can take it to the inspection. I might replace the fender altogether. I'll see how that goes. But that's kind of where I'm at. A little bit of rust here too. Oh, rust is now clean. I just need to rinse off the jelly. And I'm going to apply the rust neutralizer on these areas, and then I'm going to start bondoing this area with some body filler, and yeah, fill it up and remake the shape here. So it's moving forward. It's good. Hi everyone, so continuing working on the Tiguan project, I wanted to show you what was hiding behind this hole here. So it is corrosion, obviously, it's perforating. I need to fix this in order to get the car certified on the Quebec roads. So I started removing the trim, the wheel well trim, so this plastic thing. I was literally about to take it out when I thought it would be a good idea to make a video. If you see what's going on here, so first of all, the metal is crumbling. So this is dead. I can't really fix this at this point. It's too extensive of damage. I mean, I could, but it's really probably not a good idea. What I'll show you is how much crap actually gets behind the fender. And that's what you see here, right? And that's why you get excessive moisture building up in the back. There's another reason for that, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But if you look at this side here, let me just adjust this real quick and show you what that looks like. There is more dirt and leaves and various things that accumulate behind the well, behind the trim, I should say. And that's what gets you to this situation where the moisture accumulates, it just stays in contact with the fender. See all this? Right. Well, that's coming from years of debris falling down the hole here, the drain that drains the water from the bay, right? So it runs off of the windshield, gets into the engine bay. There's a low collecting area, and the water flows, and it takes a whole bunch of crap along with it. And you end up having just moisture that stays in touch with the metallic parts. And this is the other part of the problem, is this damping material that gets soaked in water and that stays in touch with stays in contact with the fender and basically rusts away, right? So probably gonna have to replace the fender at this point, because I don't think there's a point fixing it. It's really damaged here. I haven't removed the trim just yet. I'm gonna get to this point just in a second. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, so I took the fender off, took the trim off. This trim is plastic, not necessarily super easy to remove. You have some of these little clips that you have to pinch with a pair of pliers in order to remove them. They might break. This one broke, for instance, just completely broke off. And the shape of the fender in the back is that's not pretty at all, as you can tell. So fender is beyond repair at this point. It's all mangled. It's been eaten up by the rust for quite a while. There's debris that accumulates in the back here that just rusts the fender away. So there's no point in fixing this. I'm just going to try to find a new one. You will see that there is also a piece of a damper material here, and that's foam, and that basically keeps the moist in contact with the fender. So this is actually a notorious area where the fender will just rust and rot away, because you see my gloves are wet here because this is full of water. See, as I pinch it, there's water coming out, and that's really a design flaw. You find this on Golfs, you find this on a number of other vehicles. It's just it's horrible. So fender will need replacement. I'm just gonna put the wheel back on and try to find a new fender. But yeah, I'll keep you posted on the evolution. Replacing a fender is pretty easy. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to find a one that is the same color. Otherwise I'm gonna have to repaint it. This one was damaged anyways. There was a dent in it, so I don't mind replacing it really. More to come soon. Stay put. Hey everyone, continuing to work on the fender project that ultimately I decided to replace. Simply because it's partially dismounted right now, but you'll see for yourself, this is completely rotten, right? So this section is gone. The little lip that's supposed to go from the front to the back here, the extension of this and this, the arch, is gone. This is gone, typical spot actually for Volkswagens. So I decided to completely replace the fender. And I got particularly lucky because I found a fender the exact same color online on the marketplace. So I'll be able to replace it without having to do too much paint work. This one also had a dent here, and I realized it was apparently already repaired once in the past. So I just want to walk you through removing the fender. The good thing is that it's actually fairly easy. It's easier to remove the trim in the wheel well. That way you have a little bit more space to work, and there are some screws that you need to get to anyways, right? That are just behind this piece of foam here. That's the first thing. Second thing, there's a trim that goes in the front here. This black trim. Let me show you real quick what that looks like. I have this on the other wheels. Actually on this one it's gone too. It's fundamentally this black piece of trim here. And it's a bit tricky to remove, but if you know how to do it, it's actually pretty easy. You would need to remove the screws. There are some Torx screws at the front, at the bottom, and at the back, and it slides out. So that's the trick with that thing. If you pull on it, it will break. Guaranteed. I've done it. So not the way to take it out, but there is a way to remove those things without breaking them. And the way is to slide them out. So you remove the screws from the front and the back, and they slide out. The thing is that I can't recall which direction they slide in. So if it's front or back, I will have to look at the piece. I don't have it here. It's actually in my shed, so I'll have to go get it. But don't force on it, which is what I did here. So I basically snapped the little pieces here that like the, I don't know how you call those things, like they're like plastic rivets, right? And they break off, obviously. So to remove this fender, it's actually pretty simple. So again, trim, black trim that's in the front, and then you have one screw here, which is a Torx. I took it out. You'll see it. It's pretty easy. It fits right in here. So it's a Torx. It's a pretty standard Torx. Tells me it's a Torx 25 here on this little bit here. I thought it was T30, but anyways, you'll figure that out. So that's the only screw. And then you see the top here of the fender. These are plastic clips, right? So you have to be cautious when you take this out, because it clips into this black piece that's in the back, right? See this? And this piece is attached again with 2 Torx screws to the fender. So when you take out the bumper, it's step number 1. See, it spreads out very easily. And then you have access to the back. In the back you find 2 screws. I'm going to try to show this to you. It's not easy. There's one that goes here, and there's one that goes here. And these are the same as the one that attaches the bumper on the front. Once you take that out, so in my case there's a little screw that was added at the top here. This is not part of the original design. That's something that has been fixed. Normally that black piece should come off, right? And once it comes off, you'll have access to 2 bolts behind. There are 10. That was not supposed to happen. Well, actually we see them really well here. So these are the 2 openings. I actually just let the wing sitting on the body. This is why it came off. And these are your hex 10 mil standard. You find a lot of those throughout the car. Then you have 2 more at the top here. One here. There's one you take out from the back again, which is here. So you have to reach behind, and behind the fender, now that it's down, I'll show you what that looks like. Behind the fender, there is this piece of foam which comes off that you have to kind of take out of the way, and there's this plastic trim, right? This clips to the fender, and this acts as some sort of a spacer, I suppose. It's not exactly sure, and it reaches all the way down to the rocker bar, right? And you have 2 screws. So here, as you can see, there's one screw here. Well, there's one screw that you access from within, and there are 2 screws, 2 like bolts, like the 10 mils, that you would access from within the door opening here, right? So you can actually see them. There's one here that attaches here from this side. This one attaches from this side, and you have 2 more here that are completely snapped in my case because the rocker bar, because the fender is basically dead. So I'm gonna have to clean this up and take these 2 out, right? So they're from within the fender, so inside the wheel wells. So it will be probably easier to take it out with the wheel off, right? The wheel is still on in my case because it kind of broke off, but ultimately I'll probably have to take the wheel off to put it back on. And I will have to take the wheel off anyways to put the trim, like the wheel well, back on. So not a huge deal here, but it's easier with the wheel off. So I just wanted to point out again that most of these issues with these cars are due to these pieces of foam. They act as a soundproofing or sound dampering. There's one here. I had the exact same problem with my Jetta. What happens is that the moisture accumulates in the back, and it just, gravity pulls the moistures down, and this remains wet basically, and it will rot your fender away. Same thing here. The water accumulates in the back, or the humidity accumulates in the back. It runs down and basically rots the bottom of your fender away. So a common issue, right? You see that on Golfs, you see that on Jettas, you see that on Tiguans. I don't understand why they never fixed that, but that's the way it is. So in my case, like I said, I'm lucky because I was able to find a new fender. It's right here. Same color But you can tell this one is actually 2010, I believe, 2011. And you can see there is already some rust building up here, but it's not nearly as bad as mine. So, which is good news, because I can just, rust proof this, make sure it doesn't go any further. I have all the damper and the parts are gone on this one. This one actually got torn even, so I'm gonna have to remove that piece and glue it back on. But it's the same thing, right? They all rot the same way. The bottom here is also rotten a little bit, but it's actually not that bad overall compared to mine. It's still in one piece. And even the little lip here, the little tab where the two bolts screw into the rocker bar are still in good condition. I got really lucky. It's the same color. Like, what are the odds of that? And that was actually about, half an hour from here. So great. Sometimes you get lucky with parts. Now, as a side note, when I was working in this area yesterday, look at what I found. And let me zoom in a little bit here. Yep, this is my V-belt or accessory belt or serpentine belt, different names for it. And it's hanging by a thread. There's almost nothing left. It's supposed to be the entire width of this pulley, right? And there's just one little piece left. So I cannot believe that this hasn't broken off. But now that the wheel will have to come off, actually. It's going to be easier to do. But this is one thing I absolutely need to take a look at, and I'm going to get a belt today. Replace this, and I'll be back and running hopefully in no time. Like, this doesn't take too long apparently. I will walk you through this process as well. That's going to be a separate video, but totally accidental that I just popped the hood and realized that my accessory belt was about to basically die. So the good thing is that the water pump on this engine is powered by the Disty chain, to my knowledge. So this belt is only for your AC compressor and for the alternator. Still a problem because you're going to run out of battery pretty quick, but certainly not as bad as your motor overheating and all the great stuff that can happen from that point. So I'm going to look into this. That's going to be a separate video. But for now, I'm going to continue working on the fender, and I'll just show you what it looks like once it's done. So one side note here around the fender, so the two lower bolts, I loosened them with my my impact gun, and it worked out well. Probably not the smartest way to do it though, because these could easily strip, right? They're really rusted in there, so I loosened them. I put some WD-40 to kind of ease things up a little bit. So I'm just going to take those out now. And also notice that there is some corrosion in the back of my door right there. So again, not a bad idea to treat everything at the same time since you're in the area. The good thing is that, so this is plastic, right? This is part of the lower part of the door, the lower trim. My rocker bars are actually in pretty good condition overall, and that's good news. Again, treat any kind of rust you would see, because that's going to spread otherwise. I'm surprised this is actually remarkably good condition more so. This is welded to the body, but this is not breaking off or breaking apart, which is good news, and I'm happy with that. Nothing else really to see in this area. Probably not a bad idea again to keep an eye on. I'm gonna have to take a look at my springs, because I know this spring is not where it's supposed to be. I think it might be snapped actually, might be broken off. Common issue on these vehicles, the springs actually do break. That's a pain in the ass to remove. I'm not sure whether I'm gonna get to it, we'll see. And there's a drain tube up here. You want to make sure this is free as well, because this drains the water from the bay above, right, which is all the runoffs from the windshield. So make sure this is clean and free of any debris. Just take a quick look to the car and see if you see anything that would be concerning. But in my case, things look pretty good. There's no major rust either, which is good news. I'm going to take care of these two little bolts here, and I'm going to keep going. All right, so we're going to work on preparing our fender to put it back on the car. There are a few things that we need to take care of. First of all, it's that piece here, which is made of foam, and that is attached using glue, presumably, Although in my case, to put it back in its place, I'm gonna use some double-sided tape, right? I've got this plastic trim that goes alongside the fender, and this clips on the fender itself. There are two tabs to hold it in place so that you can remove it, and this attaches roughly like that. Yeah, it needs to be all the way up so that both teeth actually clip in. There is also a little tab at the very top here that normally you would put first. Doesn't matter, this is the old one, so I'm gonna take care of this later. Just gonna grab the other fender. And we're gonna deal with this now. So this is the old one, I'm gonna to the side. I'll talk about that piece of foam that's at the top of the fender, which is, in fact, I might take it off completely because this is what creates problems to begin with. So I got the foam here. You can see there's a piece of foam that was left in situ. I'm gonna take that one out. Doesn't really take much effort to take it out. And we're gonna put a strip of tape here to reattach the other piece of foam. And that's essentially just to hold it in place. Make sure it's somewhat clean here. As you can tell, the fender also has some rust in the back. So same spot as the other one, except that this one is not as bad. So I'll be able to rust proof it. This is not perforating, which is good. Just gonna actually run a wire brush on it, remove the paint, remove everything that doesn't hold, and treat it, right? These staples, so these ones right here, and at the bottom, so all of them are actually still in place. This one, that one, that one, that one. This is great, I still have them because this is what the little plastic trim latches on, right? And I have that trim here, actually. I happen to have it here. You can see the little staples, I guess, these little locks are still on there. And they slide, right? So when you attach the trim, you're gonna slide this on top of that little locking nut, right? The good thing is that this one is not broken. All the different tabs are still intact. This is not the case with mine because I broke them all, and I broke the rear as well because I didn't know how to take that out. If you look at the way it's done, you have locks, you have little teeth here, you have a little tab, but the teeth is what actually locks it in place. One did break, and the bottom, so both teeth actually, you have to squeeze them together. It's a pain in the butt to remove, quite frankly, but if you take this out, that one out, and if you actually remove the locks at the bottom here too, which again, there's another one like that, right? This one locks in place by inserting it from the top down. Well, then this can be removed fairly easily, right? But you have to keep in mind how to slide this, which direction to slide this. And this is sitting like this, if I remember correctly, on the side, so just like that. So you have to slide towards the front of the vehicle in order to slide these little things out, right? So something to keep in mind, because otherwise, guaranteed you're gonna break them. I broke one, I didn't know. I figured it out after it was taken out of the car. And obviously, you know, you live, you learn, right? So here I'm gonna reattach the foam. So I got some double-sided tape here. I'm just gonna put a little strip. Doesn't have to be really long, it's fundamentally just to hold it in place. About 10 inches. There's a piece here that's snapped. as well. I'm gonna take that out. Yeah. Okay, so one thing to note is, well, first of all, I'm gonna have to really clean up the bottom here before I can continue. But there are little teeth at the very bottom here of that plastic trim, and that presumably will insert or lock it in place on the body, right? So we'll look into this after. Before I go any further, I'm gonna run my wire brush on this, clean this up, put some rust proof, and at the same time I just want to put the foam back on top, so this goes like this. Yeah, the tabs insert and go over. I'm gonna cut the bottom part of this foam simply because it started to rot anyways, and this gets full of water, so I'm probably gonna cut it. But before I put it, I need to clean up the rust here. The lower part I can still swing out of the way to clean this up, and then we'll put it back together. I'm not sure whether I'm gonna put this one back on. It is there. This is really garbage. This is what causes all the fenders to ultimately rust. I know it's a noise damper, so I might just cut the extremity out so that it doesn't stay in contact with the fender, because my fender is in decent condition here. I just don't want to risk it, so I might just cut the bottom here and make sure that there is no additional moisture that stays in contact with the fender here. All right, so I'm gonna take care of this now. All right, so I have run my wire brush along the inside of the fender, removed all traces of rust, which is what you want. So it now looks pretty good. The sad part is that I do have some perforation rust right here. Not sure whether you can see it, but that's a bummer, because I was hoping I wouldn't have to do any serious body filler or repair, but in this case it looks like I'm gonna have to. So as a reminder, I'm using this European product for rust proofing, or to stop the rust more so. This is called Frametto. If you're from Europe, you likely know about that stuff. I've known this for as long as I can remember. My dad was using it when I was a kid to address rust issues. This stops the rust. It really does. I mean, it's a rust kind of a rust treatment, but it really stops the rust. So here I've also run a nice little coat here on the inside, and I haven't done the outside yet, but that's the next plan. And as you can tell here, we have some rust here, so I'm gonna have to take this out first, because you need to remove all loose material. So I'm gonna run my wire brush again on there. I'll finish this up with my screwdriver here. The goal is to make sure you don't have any paint that basically is still loose before you apply your rust proofing, because if you do, the rust will continue to progress under the paint, and that will render the treatment you're doing kind of inefficient, so to speak. So make sure you remove anything that looks like bubbling, just like this. I didn't quite get to it with my brush. Any loose paint, take this out, especially in these tight spaces here where you can tell moisture is going to get, because it's behind the little trim, so it's really not the best. Once this is done, Alright, so now we're spreading this. I don't really care behind the trim because ultimately it's going to be hidden behind the trim. Although this piece here will have to be finished. So that looks pretty good. The old surfaces are covered and protected. So there we go. Now, front looks good. No problem there. I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit. And yeah, in theory, outside of that little perforating hole that I'm seeing, unfortunately, on the fender right here, it is on the inside, however, so it's going to be slightly behind the trim. Just notice there's a little paint flaking here. Okay, that's fine. Well, now we have a fender that's properly protected against the rust, which is gonna go a long way. Scratch the paint a little bit here, but I need to finish it anyways. And what I was told is that if you see, I'm not sure whether you can see, there's little brown spots all over here. This is actually not rust, it's coming from your brakes. That's what a mechanic shared with me. So he said that if you have this on your fender, that's probably because your brakes are having a bit of a problem. So I thought I would point that out. So now this now can go in, should go in before the goes the other way actually, so like that. So I'm gonna put it goes kind of inside and out. And all the way up here, there's a little tab again. Right here, there's a tab. Make sure you insert this first, and then the part should basically kind of position itself right there. Yeah, and it covers everything. So from that point on, we're in pretty good shape. I really would like to do a dry fit and put it on the car. We have this piece of foam here that I cut the bottom off. So I've cut that chunk at the bottom here because that's gonna hold. You see, this is foam, right? So this holds the moisture, and this is really what rots these fenders away. That's a shame, really. It's on a number of vehicles, number of Golfs and Jettas, and all right. So I finally managed to remove the protective film on that tape. This is an old double-sided tape, and it was just really difficult to take out. So gotta wedge it in here and make sure it's applied nice and tight, and that shouldn't really move. From this point on, we should be in a position to put the fender back on. So we do have some perforating rust, as I mentioned. Not a huge deal, but I will want to wait for this to be just nice and dry and cured. So I'll wait until tomorrow, and then I'll start doing the body work with a body filler and the like. All right, so I've put the fender back in place. It's a slightly different color actually. I'm realizing this now. Spacing is good between the door and the fender. There are 3 screws, right? 3 bolts. 2 in the back here. You can barely see them. And 1 a little bit higher up in the back over there. Okay, so this one is put in from this side, and there is one from the other side that I'm yet to put back in. It goes right here, so I'm gonna put that one back in. Now I'm also gonna show you why all these parts on Jettas, on Golfs, on Tiguans, they all rust the same way, because of this piece of foam, which basically fills with water. And I'm not joking when I say it fills with water. It's literally a sponge. It rained over here recently, and you see the water that I'm squeezing out of there, right? and I just squeezed it before I started making the video. A lot more water came out. It's really a garbage design. I hate it. I think it's really shit. But I'm gonna put it back there. I cut the bottom so that it would drip and just go out. I did cut a section at the bottom here, and I also cut a section of the foam behind the fender right here, because it's the exact same thing. This one is also full of water. Look at that. It's crazy what a shitty design this is. It's just unreal. And I didn't even drive the car, right? That's the worst part. I didn't drive the car. The car has been sitting here. So the water gets in there and it just fills up these dampeners, and you end up with a rotting rocker bar or rotting fender. Borderline, programmed obsolescence or whatever they call it, or where the part is designed to fail after a while. It's just unreal. So anywho, we'll be in a position to put back the liner as well, clip the fender back in, and continue with the rust proofing. I need to put a little bit of body filler here because I do have a hole, right, unfortunately, so I need to cover that, and then I'll be able to put the trim back in, which I fixed as well. All right, quick update on the Tiguan project and the rust work. So I've completed some repairs. It's not perfect. For instance, this one here, you can tell that there was a little bit of paint here that was chipped and that I forgot to remove, so I'm gonna have to work on this a little bit. And this is primer and anti-rust, so just happens to be gray as well, which is nice. I haven't worked on the door handles just yet, simply because I need a special tool to remove the handles. I haven't received it yet. Completed the door seal here, which looks actually really good. I've completed the rear quarter fender here, which also looks pretty good. And you'll see the different stages of the repair here. So the first stage is to apply some body filler, just like this one here. I did actually treat the rust, if you remember, right? So I used this Frametto product to basically neutralize the rust, which really worked well. And then I put some body filler, and then I need to finish this with a fine filler, which is the red stuff, and that's what you see on this part here. This was a big repair, and I'm really happy about it, because if you remember, there was a hole right here, and I had to fill this with resin and fiberglass. So the result is actually really nice. It's definitely not perfect, but it's very good still. Bottom here treated as well. I haven't put the primer on this. That's the reason why it still shows pink. Same thing here for the door handle. Gonna handle this later. Quarter panel and the rear fender treated as well, and this whole area, which was badly rusted. So I completed this too, right? So this is now pretty dry actually. Just applied this earlier. And last thing was the fender that I actually replaced. And this part actually did have a little bit of rust and did have a hole in it. So I had to fix this again with filler and apply some primer, which is why you see the gray matte color. Same thing, I'm gonna have to put the trim back on here. I'll probably have to remove some of that Frametto stuff, because it did actually stain the paint a little bit, but that's fairly easy to remove. It just comes off. So it's moving forward nicely. I'm happy about it. And the door handles will be the next challenge. I need to remove the door handle itself in order to really treat this correctly. Once this is done, we'll apply some primer. I'm gonna order the original paint from Scratch Happen. I think it's the service I'm gonna use. And so I need to look up the exact color paint code. And yeah, I'm gonna get started for the paint job itself, which will be the color naturally. So I'm gonna have to sand this, water sand this, probably 2000 grit, and then put the color and then put the clear coat. But at least the rust is outside of the door handles, which obviously is not complete yet. It's certainly coming together nicely. Right? So that's the update for today. Hey everyone, so I thought I would add some comments to the video that you perhaps just watched to the end. It's very detailed, where I get through all the steps of dealing with the rust on my Tiguan. One thing I would tell you is that if I would do it again, I would certainly not pick a car that has so many rust issues. And it's hard because in Canada, it's pretty common, really. I was in France not so long ago, back in November, and I've seen a number of Tiguans the same year, even a little bit older in some situations, that are just spotless, not a speck of rust. Perfect condition. So it really has to do with the weather here, the salt, the rocks, all that they put on the roads, and that's really damaging vehicles on the long term. And the quality of the metal is not as good as it used to be, frankly. So I get into a situation now that I have a lot of rust to deal with, and what I'm showing you is just the condensate. Right? It's the summary of all the different steps involved. The video overall, with the different segments that I attached together to provide you with this YouTube video, was basically spanning over days, if not weeks, right? And even as of today, early 2026, I'm recording this additional note, it's still not completed. The areas around the handles, door handles, that's tricky. Removing the handles was a problem. I needed to get the help of a mechanic specialized in Volkswagen to get this done. It's just a pain. It's a pain, and there are lots of steps involved. So you need to put the compound, you need to put the filler, the body filler if you're using body filler for big holes. You need to put the finishing touch, and you need to wait for every single step to cure before you can send it. Then do it again. Then prime. When you prime, sometimes you realize that you missed some spots. You have to go back. It's a very timely and time-consuming process, right? So be mindful of this. If you do want to deal with rust on your vehicle, it's definitely not easy. Plus, you need the right conditions. Ideally, you want a place that will allow you to do painting or to do priming so that you don't have dust or stuff flying around if you want to get to a good result. I wanted this to be clean. I didn't want it to be perfect, although I will. This is where I set the bar. I set it to perfect. And if it's not perfect, then so be it. But I'll definitely do my best so that it looks good and professional. You might do it with a different approach, which is completely fine. But if you do get into rust situations, just be mindful of the fact that it's going to be a huge time drain. And it gets expensive, like all the different products that you need to buy, the body fillers, the resin, the fiberglass, anything that you will need, possibly additional parts that you'll need to source if you can't fix the parts that are damaged. All of that will have a cost, right? And your time. And time is of the essence in this project. You need to wait for things to cure. You need to wait for things to dry out. You can't rush it. You simply cannot rush it. I painted an entire car already in the past. I've gone through this. It's time consuming. It's very rewarding at the end once it's done, but it's just a lot of work. So I thought I would point that out. So take your time. Make sure you look online. There's lots of tutorials on how to do a proper job so that it looks nice and beautiful. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I hope this video was somewhat helpful, and I'll continue posting since the project is not over just yet. Thanks. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. That helps me. Thanks.